23 minutes past midnight, and we've got some high-priced talent with us tonight. So he tells me that's Harry Chapin. Harry, hi.
No, you got it all wrong.
All
I was
wrong.
saying our guest interviewer is high-priced talent. I'm the cheapest talent you can find.
I thought you were high-priced talent.
No. You get what you pay for. In this case, you paid nothing. That's what you're getting.
Also, Piccadilly's Mike Day to chat to Harry.
Yes,
hi, Mike.
good morning. Nice to be with you. I think one of the reasons why people have asked me to come in and speak to you this morning, the powers that be, is that somebody once said to me, I look at every night the adverts in the paper saying what's on Piccadilly, and they should change it from Nightbeat with Mike Day to Nightbeat with Harry Chapin, because of the fact that I'm always playing your records. So I suppose, in a way, it's right that I should be speaking to you this morning.
So they couldn't find anybody dumb enough to take this job, huh? No, I'm flattered. I mean, interestingly enough, what I try to do with my music is I really try to write oral movies, and if you are on a late night shift, I would think that my attempt anyway of putting people in a situation where things unfold might be more effective than if they were bustling about in the day and had a million things to do and didn't have the time to sit and listen.
Well, I think mainly that at night people do tend to have more time to listen to the content of the song.
Yeah.
Well, you were down at the Apollo earlier on this evening, and I was down there too, and it was an excellent show. Were you pleased with yourself?
Yeah, it's each year we seem to get a couple hundred people more than the year before. I was joking. I said that by the 1994 we'll be able to do 2 shows there, but it's a privilege for me. I get a chance to play an awful lot of people in America. I mean, I'm, knock on wood, can say that I'm considered, especially at a time when the music industry is going downhill rapidly in terms of volume of sales, and the concert business this past year was off 30%. We were up about 40% last year over the year before, and every year we've been up over the year before. And also, ironically enough, for some crazy reason, at a time when the record industry is doing really badly, we sold over 500,000 of the old albums just over the last 3 months, irrespective of Sequel, which did very well. It's the first record we really had on the charts for the last 5 years. So I've had sort of a strange career, but Harold Leventhal, who was Pete Seeger's manager, once said that, Harry, whenever there's bad times, the reality singers do better. And he said Pete always gets more calls, he gets more bookings when it seems like everything else is disaster time, and it sure worked out way for us. So
Now, in America, you sell out way ahead of your concerts. I remember reading in the Billboard about a year ago, one of your concerts sold out something like 6 months prior to it actually commencing. England's a very weird scene as far as music is concerned. Do you find that so, coming over here, doing concerts, having sort of sold out in enormous stadiums in America, to come over here and maybe in some cases not be playing to completely full houses?
Well, to me, frankly, I hate to tell you, but I'm a sort of a hidden Anglophile. My family all comes originally from this area, and I love it here, irrespective of how big the house is. And also, I mean, luckily enough, I make enough money, so I'm not really out there for the buck. At this point, I give away more than half of the money I make, because we do half our concerts as benefits. I think it's also healthy. We were talking about it earlier today. I mean, just dealing in a situation where so many, quote, stars end up by separating themselves from the condition that made them successful in the first place, which is hearing the whispers. I don't know if you know my song, There Only Was One Choice, but in it I'm talking to a young singer-songwriter who's feeling that he hasn't got a chance to sing for a lot of people. And I say, kid, you can feel your footsteps when you're kicking up the dust. The rustling in the shadows tells you secrets you can trust. The capturing of whispers is the way to write a song. It's when you get to microphones that the music can go wrong. You see, you can't see the audience with spotlights in your eyes. Your feet can't feel the highway from where the Learjet flies. When you glide in silent splendor in your padded limousines, only you are crying there behind the silver screen. I think the reason why so many singer-songwriters dry up so quickly, and maybe have 3 or 4 albums that are worthwhile, and all the rest is just sort of, protecting their fiefdom or fiefdom or however it's pronounced, is based on the fact that all of a sudden the stance changes from a kid with a guitar over his shoulder and his thumb out to being one who's got a castle in Laurel Canyon and who doesn't have any relationship to the real world.
Well, that was something that I noticed tonight. There seems to be a tremendous rapport between yourself and the audience. Now, do you think this is because of your actual music, and I mean music in the sense of note music, or is it because people identify with all your songs? Because it seems to me that an awful lot of the songs you sing sometimes may not be relevant to my own situation, but you can find a parallel to them, how they've affected your life. Is that what you think that causes this rapport?
Well, it's a dual, as you said. One, I mean, I come from an earlier tradition, which has nothing to do with aggression or treating the audience like you're doing them a favor. I come from a tradition where, I mean, you try to get across the footlights, have a one-to-one, respectful relationship with your audience. And in fact, listen, I've had a lot of jobs in my life. This is the best one. I mean, to play for thousands of people, make thousands of dollars, play what I want, where I want, when I want, I mean, I can't feel sorry for myself. I love when I hear these performers talk just in a moment about how tough it is out there on the road, and they say, by God, go get a real job, buddy,
Well, you did say earlier on that you felt that playing music was, in fact, like a full-time vacation.
Yeah.
From where did you come? I mean, what brought you into the music scene in the first place?
Well, I was a junior folkie during the 60s and playing around the edges of Greenwich Village where I grew up. But I was a documentary filmmaker for 7 years between 65 and 71. And when I got back into music, it was basically because I was triggered into a whole new kind of creativity based on these narrative songs. I mean, two things I'm known for are the fact that I'm the only one in the music industry dumb enough to be using the extended narrative form to any consistent extent. I mean, if you say there's an awful lot of bigger performers than I am and bigger record-selling artists, but if you say story songs, you have to turn to Harry Chapin because by definition there's nobody else doing him that much.
No.
And the other thing is that I'm the most socially and politically involved performer in America right now. And both of those things, I think, have an impact on my life. And frankly, also, I think the fact that I do, for example, after concerts, go out and meet people. The fact that I spend a large part of my time working on issues where being a rock and roll star means absolutely nothing except for maybe you can generate some money and some visibility, but you don't get any points because you're dealing with people of power and credibility themselves. I find that constantly tosses me back into a more healthy, creative environment so that I don't feel like I have to, I mean, I've met people who have had, like 3 hit records in a row, and all of a sudden they went, where's the next hit coming from? Oh, no. And tremendous amount of pressure from the record company. I have no pressure right now. All I have to do is do good Harry Chapin. As a matter of fact, a nice situation with my new record company, after finishing the contract with Elektra, 10 albums, and then going to Boardwalk, is Neil Bogart, who's the head of Boardwalk. He says, Harry, write me the next Blowin' in the Wind. I'll get it played. I mean, his challenge is, to me, to write as good music as I can. The reason he signed me as his first act, and they've got some big signings on the way, and they've got some other interesting artists right now, is he wanted me to set a tonality of meaningfulness to the record label, when in the past he's been accused of, with disco and bubblegum and whatever. He feels that the music is going to come around again in the 80s, and he felt that I was the most serious artist functioning in that area. I mean, obviously, there's a hell of a lot of bigger artists than Harry Chapin, and if you're going to go dancing, the last person you dance to is me. But I'm excited about the fact that I don't have to make napalm all day and come home and be nice to my kids. I'm not a good German in that sense. I'm trying to integrate my career, my beliefs, my family, my music in my country into some kind of cohesive pattern, and I'm a pretty lucky guy.
We played Cats in the Cradle just a minute ago, and that song in itself, all about how people do not give enough time to other people. You said earlier on this evening that you perform approximately 200 concerts per year, which is a hell of a number of concerts.
Last year was 250.
Which leaves you about 100 days off. Now, how do you manage to fit in a family life, which you must have a family life because your songs contain very, very real lyrics towards?
Well, I mean, Cats in the Cradle is starting to apply to me again. When I take long tours, I take the kids. I mean, my 2 youngest kids are joining us at the end of this week. My wife's been with me for this whole time since we've been over here. Mm-hmm. And when I do an Australian tour, they go with me, or a West Coast tour. But at the same time, I have been working with the political situation in the country in the United States this past year. I did an extra 25 benefits over and above the ones I usually do for World Hunger Year and everything. So I've gotten to the point where I think I've gotten a little overboard working too hard, and there's always a delicate balance between example and involvement, participation and being an observer. And I last year worked too damn hard in too many different things, and I really have to come home for a while. And starting in September, I've been on the road. I will have been on the road essentially 10 years, with maybe, 3 weeks here, 4 weeks there, but mostly on the road all that time. And I'm going to take off for 4 months. I'm going to be a house husband, and hopefully without any dire results. But my wife's starting to teach at Delphi College on Long Island. She's just getting her PhD at Columbia in the United States, got her master's at Harvard, which is... She keeps wondering what I'm going to do when I grow up. But anyway, the bottom line of it is that I think I have the same kinds of problems as every parent has, and the commuting father who is probably over-career-oriented has a lot of analogistic relationship to me. So.
Well, we've already played Cats in the Cradle, as I say, and that's almost vintage Chapin now, isn't it? So let's come up to date. The new album sequel, it's a new lineup in the band, is it or not?
No, it's since '74 I've had my brother Steve on piano, Howie Fields on drums, Doug Walker on lead guitar. Big John's been with me since '71 when I put the group together originally, and the only place that's really been changing is cello players. Finally we have a female cello player now, and she's been with us a year and 3 months. So basically, it's been occasionally on some tracks we've used outside musicians, but most of the albums have been done by the band.
Well, last time you were over, you were over with your brother Tom, and I went in and saw you then, and you were playing just acoustically at that time.
Well, with the band we're still together then. You just took that tour.
Yes. I'm going to ask you, if you will, a little later on, maybe give us a little tune. I see you've got your guitar with you. Maybe we could have
this time
a track from the new album.
Sure,
yes,
that'd be great.
But in the meantime, shall we have a little music from the album? And tell us a little bit. I finally found it, Sandy, is the track I want to play first of all.
Well,
can you tell us a little bit about the
background?
background?
My wife's name is Sandy, and I really, we're really at a time when there's a lot of different questions about how to deal with the who and what we are, what our relationships, what a marriage is. And I've been saying for years that. And the number keeps changing, it's higher. I say I've been married 28 times and divorced 27. As long as I'm one marriage up over the divorces, it's all the same woman, It's an ongoing battle, but when you find a great woman, you grab her and you hold on tight, and it's an ongoing struggle. So really, the song is really talking about the whole sense of to what degree you own, literally and figuratively, the person you're with, and what degree you free them. And we're not just talking about sexual morality, we're really talking about the sense of what empowers and how a relationship empowers people to grow rather than to shrink. And I think one of the great things about Woman's Lib is the fact that I think it's far more egotistical to have somebody who can stand up as tall as you, look you straight in the eye and say, yes, I want you, than to have somebody who's a puffball who's just sort of fitting around you, and every word dripping out of your lips is treated like honey from the honeycomb. So I think really I'm very lucky. I've got a woman who's my toughest critic, who has challenged me to be a better person on a continual basis, and I keep struggling to hold on to her. And it's going to be an interesting battle as the years go by. She says, Harry, I believe in the man, not always the marriage. So anyway, you can listen to it.
Okay.
I can feel it in my bones. It's not what you are winning, it don't matter what you own. It is more than just a feeling, more than just a song. It's something like a healing, and I feel it coming strong. Oh yeah, we have got our history, our secrets are all known. And if we've lost the mystery, at least we both have grown. There'll be strangers in our future, changes in our world, but a man can love a woman more than a little boy and girl. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yes, I finally found it, Sandy. Maybe this time, babe, you can understand me. It really wasn't so complicated after all. For I've been down so far, I ain't got so far to fall. There only is this one bluff left for me to call. Can't you see? I can set you free now, and for the first time I can offer you me. All the time I've known you, I've been frightened to the core. I know I've tried to hold you, but I did not see before. A relationship is more than a warm body and a smile. You can give me much more if you're growing all the while. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yes, I finally found it, saying it. Maybe this time, babe, you can understand me. It really weren't so complicated after all. I've been down so far, I ain't got so far to fall. There only is this one bluff left for me to call. Can't you see? I can set you free now, and for the first time I can offer you me.
I hope that this takes me where it takes you. Maybe we can make a breakthrough.
I don't know where I'm going, but I hope it is with you. Let's make this a partnership we both can offer too. It's amazing we're together after all we have been through. Our only choice is whether we've got learning left to do. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yes, I finally found it, Sandy. Maybe this time, babe, you can understand me. It really weren't so complicated after all. For I've been down so far, I ain't got so far to fall. There only is this one bluff left for me to call. Can't you see? I can set you free now, and for the first time I can offer you me.
Track from the new album from Harry Chapin, Sequel, and I finally found it, Sandy. I've got it right. 19 minutes to 1 o'clock. Back in a mo with Harry and also Mike, and we'll just be opening the phone lines for you as well.
The old Coach House Country Club style has been reflecting on the sort of night out that people enjoy. And now, as well as a superb restaurant, you can enjoy Reflections Discotheque at the old Coach House Country Club. Reflections Discotheque opens this Wednesday and every Wednesday with a Golden Oldie Night, and every Friday and Saturday with all the latest disco sounds around, and admission is free for diners. Members can take part in a free draw to win £100 each night. Reflections Discotheque for the over 25s. Phone Wilmslow 523 466.
Piccadilly News File, keeping you right up to date with events in the region, the nation, and from around the world. Listen out for a roundup of the morning's news at 12:45. At 6 o'clock, there's analysis of all the major stories and interviews with the newsmakers. Then at midnight, a comprehensive review of the day's news. That's News File 3 times a day, keeping you informed and entertained.
Okay, Mike, I thought it'd be nice, actually, if we opened the phone lines, asked the listener to phone in if they wanted to ask the odd question or two. What do you think about that?
Yeah, fine. And I'm sure you'd be pleased
Sure,
to
I'd be
speak to
delighted. Is there a number
anybody
that-
on anything, really.
Yes, right. You can ask about anything. The nastier, the better.
We'll give that number out. It's 061 228 6262.
And we've got 3 copies of the brand new album to give away, signed by you, of course.
All righty. Well, I've got to think up a contest. There's some rule here that you can't just give them away to the third caller or something, right?
I don't know, really.
We could do that if you like.
Do what you want.
Well, it's all right. Now, let me think.
Sounds a bit too easy to me.
Yeah, okay. I'll tell you what. I'll ask the three people who can call in and say, in my 11 albums, which is the longest song I ever recorded?
That sounds a fair
Right,
question. The
okay.
longest song you ever recorded. Excellent. Just very briefly, Harry, tell us about this award you won, because you're talking about your movie career before. You did actually win an award, I read yesterday. Is that right?
Yeah, I was a documentary filmmaker, and in '69 I wrote and directed a film that was nominated for an Academy Award as Best Feature Documentary in the States. It also won the Atlanta and New York Film Festivals as Best Documentary of that year. And so I was a full-time filmmaker. And when people ask me what has influenced my music, who or what, I usually say it's film, because I think it's the most direct, was it precedent? Not antecedent, means afterward, yeah, of my music. And I think it's the thing that triggered. For a while I was writing treatments, which are sort of potential story forms for Time Life. I did it for about a year and a half. I used to get $1,000 for each 3-page treatment I'd write about potential film subjects. And what I was doing was looking for interesting characters going through interesting situations, and almost in a sense triggered me into a situation of looking for exactly what I ended up writing about. So I think in years to come, if people ask people who they should listen to get a tonality of the 70s, 60s, 80s, whatever, they'll obviously turn back to the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and Bruce Springsteen and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young and Bob Dylan, and on and on and on. But if they're asking who to find out the stories of what ordinary people were like and the kinds of things they were going through at that time, they're going to find that they're going to have to come back to me, even though I'm, as I say, a minor little category, because I'm the only one dumb enough to be doing that particular process.
Do you see yourself as somebody who can influence other people? One of the things that comes through to me is you seem to be a person who cares about people. Now, do you feel that your songs can help to influence and make the world a better world? Because listening to a lot of your music, I sometimes wonder whether or not maybe you could become rather disheartened the way things are going on at the moment.
Well, there's a bunch of realities to do with that. There's a couple of flattering things came out of the year or the end of decade polls that were taken by a lot of radio stations in the States. Number one, Taxi ended up in almost every one in the top 20 in terms of songs of the decade. And in terms of having actual impact on people, Cats in the Cradle was chosen by more people than any other song as having an actual impact on people's lives. If you think of the 60s, there were an awful lot of songs that, be it Blown in the Wind and a whole raft of songs that had that kind of impact. But during the 70s, being the me generation, everybody sort of moving away from that version of music, Cats in the Cradle did. I feel very strongly that, and indeed there's the slow and fast version of Remember When the Music is really about, well, I'll do the lyrics of the first verse go, remember when the music came from wooden boxes strung with silver wire, and as we sang the words, it would set our minds on fire, for we believed in things, and so we'd sing. Great art has had the ability all the way through the ages to not necessarily propagandize, tell us who to vote for, save the guppies, whatever, not that kind of situation. But it has to enable us to freshly feel perhaps things we felt all along in a way that empowers us to deal with them. And be it Guernica by Pablo Picasso, be it The Last Judgment or the Sistine Chapel Ceiling by Michelangelo, be it great pieces of music, be whatever, the things that last have that wonderful juxtaposition between entertainment and meaning. And they are, in the ultimate sense, seductive. And I found that I've been at my least successful when I've lectured people. But I've been my most successful where I have been the fool or the villain or the idiot in my songs, showing, and in many cases, my own foibles and not being holier than thou. And in that sense, I think some of my songs have had an impact, and I think my music is non-contextual in the sense that an awful lot of things are hits because in the context of the time, they sounded awful good. I mean, well, the song that replaced Cats in the Cradle's number one in the United States was Kung Fu Fighting. That was the number one song. Just to give you a vision, and the Cats in the Cradle only sold 1.5 million. Kung Fu Fighting sold 2.5 million. But in the final analysis, so what? It's like McDonald's hamburgers. 34 billion served means nothing. I'll give you another question. Which would you have rather written? Saturday Night Fever, which sold 28 million copies. Sgt. Pepper, which sold 8 million. Or the songs on Bob Dylan's Greatest Hits, which sold 2 million. Well, most people would choose either the second or the third as opposed to the first. And so if you only measure things on a quantitative basis, you're really missing a tremendous amount of what this life is about and what art is about.
Fine. Okay, well, I think we're nearly ready to take our first call.
We're ready now, actually, Mike.
Are we? Okay,
yes,
well, let's
we've
take
got
our first call.
Julie from Timperley, and she wants to know about the difference between this concert and the last concert, Harry.
At Reading or the one here with Tom?
I don't know, Julie.
Hello.
Hello, Julie.
Hello, Harry.
How are you?
Fine. First of all, I want to congratulate you on the show tonight. It was really superb.
You didn't-
Really, really good.
You didn't feel it was too long at 3 hours and 10 minutes?
Absolutely fantastic. Really good. I mean, I enjoyed the last concert. I came to see you when just you and Tom were on. And but I thought this concert was better.
Well, I'm glad you liked it. The interesting thing is I do an awful lot of shows in the States now, either solo benefits or with Tom. And then I do, obviously, all the band concerts I do. And what it does is keep me fresh in a way that perhaps other performers who are performing in the same context all the time don't get to stay fresh. I get a chance to rediscover the music when I'm by myself. I get a chance to sort of rediscover my acoustic roots and also, frankly, spend some time with somebody I love, my brother Tom, who is also on the road a lot. He's right now in Miami doing his second album for Boardwalk at Criteria Studios. And then the third thing is, of course, the band that I put together, and I mean, we've been together for an awful long time, and I think I'm very lucky because I've got a whole bunch of people in my band that could be running their own bands if they wanted to, and when we're on, we make music, and I thought we were on tonight.
I thought the cello player, the girl, was absolutely great.
Yeah, well,
she's ever so good, isn't she?
she really is. We've had a lot of cello players, but she's the fifth one. She's been with us a year and 3 months, and she's the best we've had.
Yeah.
And her name's Yvonne Cable, as you know, and this is the first time she's ever been in England. She's really absolutely in heaven.
Does she usually sing with the band, Harry?
Does she sing with the band?
Yes.
She only does the, sing circle at the end, but she has a very good voice, so
Yeah.
maybe we should get her to do some stuff.
Well, I'd just like to say, you made a lot of people happy tonight. It was very, very good.
Well, thank you very much.
Julie, just before you go, can I just interrupt and ask you a question? I have been always saying that people who may not have got into Harry's music only need to go to one of his concerts and will forevermore be devoted to his music. Would you agree with that?
Well, yes, I would. I was converted by my husband, actually, because he worked regular nights and he tuned into Piccadilly radio all the time, and Piccadilly played Harry's music a lot on the night show, so he got into Harry's work that way, and when he came round, he taught me into going, and we've been, we think he's super.
Okay, well, Julie, thanks for your call. We're going to have to say goodbye to you now
you.
because time's running out, but thanks for coming on, love.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Julie. We've got Mike in Wilmslow now. Hello, Mike. Hello, Mike. Some strange...
Mike has got... I'll tell you what, Harry, let's have a tune from you now. And are you going to play something from the new album?
Yeah, this is a song called Story of a Life. I did it tonight with the band, but it's a song that sounds fairly decent acoustically. So put on your magic button over there. I'd like the guitar to sound like Eric Clapton, and my voice like Gary Puckett, Whatever happened to him? He had a great voice. Young girl, get out of my mind. So anyway, this is a song... I just turned 38 recently, which means sort of a melancholy moment to know that 1/4 of your life is over. And this is a song of sort of recapitulation of what's important and what isn't. We were sort of talking about my wife before and the ongoing struggle of marriage. This is dedicated to all those out there with a couple of years under your belts, or for that matter, a couple of belts under your ears if you find the same thing. Story of a life. I can see myself, it's a golden sunrise. Young boy, open up your eyes. It's supposed to be your day. Now off you go, horizon bound, and you won't stop until you found your own kind of way. And the wind will whip your tousled hair, the sun, the rain, the sweet despair. Brave tales of love and strife. Somewhere on your path to glory, you will write your story of a life. And all the towns that you walk through and all the people that you talk to sing you their songs. There are times you change your stride. There are times you can't decide
still you go on. And then the young girls dance their gypsy tunes and share the secrets of the moon. So soon you find a wife, and though she sees your dreams go poorly, still she joins your story of a life. So you settle down, and the children come, and you find a place that you come from. Your wandering is done, and all your dreams of open spaces you find in your children's faces, one by one. And all the trips you know you missed, and all the lips you never kissed, cut through you like a knife. And now you see stretched out before thee just another story of a life. So what do you do now when she looks at you now? You know those same old jokes all the jesters tell, you tell them to her now. And all the same old songs all the minstrels sang, you sing them to her now. But it don't matter anyhow, 'cause she knows by now. And every chance you take don't mean a thing. What variations can you bring to this shop-worn melody? And every year goes by like a tolling bell. It's battered merchandise you sell, not well she can see. And though she's heard it all 1,000 times, couched in your attempted rhymes, she'll march to your drum and fife. But the question that goes up before me, where's my magic story of a life? I found sometimes words can serve me well, sometimes words can go to hell for all that they do. And for every dream that took me high, there's been a dream that's passed me by. I know it's so true, and I can see it clear out to the end, and I'll whisper to her now again, because she shared my life. Far more than all the ghosts of glory, she makes up the story. She's the only story of my life.
Excellent.
Wonderful, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's because I'm a bit of a sentimentalist, but that is my favourite track off the new album. I think that's really wonderful. Listen, Harry, we've got about 4 minutes before news, so we really are going to have to get our skates on. We've got a couple more callers on the line now, so let's take the first caller very quickly.
Hello, Jim. Jim Fishinghide wants Harry's favourite record. Hello, Jim.
Hello there, yeah.
Hello, okay, you're through to Harry.
Yeah, I must repeat again, it was a great concert tonight. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you.
You said Better Place to Be, one of your favourite songs.
Yep.
I just wondered, you sang all my favourite songs. I wonder whether or not you'd sang your own favourite song tonight.
Well, there was a couple things. Number one, a writer who still feels like he's, growing, obviously, is in love with most of his latest material.
Yeah.
And so there's some stuff on the new album, and some stuff the next album is called The Last Protest Singer, and it's based on the lives of some of the best people that I know. Pete Seeger, Wolf Biermann, a guy in East Germany, Victor Jara, a guy who was killed in Chile. And so I've got some stuff that I feel very excited about in that. But over the years, I would guess the story songs, have held up to me the best. I mean, just Taxi and Dogtown, the first album, Better Place to Be, Sniper in the second album, Mr. Tanner, WLD in the third album, Halfway to Heaven, Cats in the Cradle, What Made America Famous. And, I can go all the way through the 11 albums
sure,
that way.
Sure. Yeah, your latest album, the songs that you sang tonight sounded very good. Remember When the Music I particularly enjoyed.
Well, I think it's a very important song. It's a new single in the United States, and it's being treated as an important song because, I mean, I think the music business really has lost its head in terms of the substance of what makes it matter. And we've essentially, I think the reason why the record sales are down so much is you don't have to buy a record to know what the hell's going on anymore.
Sure.
15 years ago, 10 years ago, you did need to know what was going on in the music industry to know what was going on in the world.
Are there any plans to release it as a single in this country?
I don't know, because there's some fiddle-faddling going around, which I won't discuss at this point, but irrespective of that, I appreciate the fact that so many people in England and Scotland and Ireland are treating me so nice, and this is turning out to be the best tour we've ever had.
Okay, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
We'll have to leave it
The
there.
longest song, incidentally, is it Sniper?
No, close, though.
Okay.
That's the second longest.
Okay, Jim, thanks for your call. Sorry, time's running out, so we will have to sort of get on. Who's the next caller,
Roy
Dave?
Pickering wants to know about the musical background. Hello, Roy.
Hello.
Can you make it nice and quick, Roy, do you
Yeah,
think,
sure.
please?
Well, I'd like to echo the sentiments of the other two callers. You know, it was a fantastic concert tonight. On your Dance Banter Titanic album, I noticed that you've recorded one which was written by your grandfather, Kenneth Burke,
Yeah.
and also one recorded with your wife. And your brothers are both sort of play with you.
Yeah.
Was your whole background, were you brought up with a musical background? Were your family all musical?
Well, my father was a jazz drummer with Woody Herman and Tommy Dorsey and people like that. But basically, I just took lessons, and I found out the girls like guitar players, so I shifted out to guitar, and I was a junior folkie. And basically, I hid from all the pressures of being a teenager and having a stepfather who wasn't too hot for my bod by, living in a music world, and that's how I came to do it.
Are your children the same? They're following your footsteps? Are they
Not
musical?
really. They've all got
No?
different values, although my oldest daughter, who's my actually stepdaughter, but I've adopted her, is 20, and she's working very much in the hunger and development area. I spent the last 2 summers in Haiti working with starving kids, so that's that sense. I'm glad they're following in that way.
Yeah.
Harry, I'm sorry to interrupt again, but it always seems the way last time I met you, we seem to be able to talk for hours and hours and hours, and time always runs out.
Long songs, long conversations.
Yeah, so unfortunately time is running out. I thought perhaps we could just finish off. Now, your book of poetry, which makes thousands and thousands of pounds for charities around the world, could you just finish us off this morning with a little bit of poetry from that book?
Yeah, I was just trying to think of what would be a good way to end things, and here's one that's based on standing at a brand new highway that's outside of New York City, or it was when I wrote this, and behind me is the old route, and maybe in many ways we're sort of in that situation. It's called the Great Divide. Interstate 80 is open for traffic. The sign says so, and I've stopped beside the entrance ramp wondering, if I get on, can I get off? 100 yards ahead, there's 6 wide lanes speeding off to somewhere. It's twilight, or does that sky say dawn? The sullen light shows clean concrete. The landscape grass is coming slow, if at all. There are no oil stains, no skid marks, accidents, or billboards. At most, a wayside or two. Is someone out there waiting? Standing beside the car, the wind tugs at my trousers with doubts about my path. Shall I turn home? Old familiar Route 46 slides back down behind me. A vast junkyard of accordion cars, decapitated dolls, sodden books, the glitter of shattered bottles. But the McDonald's stand still thrives, selling gas and everything but dreams. A gust kicks up a rusting can. In the distance, there's thunder, or is it crumbling walls? I stand at the Great Divide, 30 years gone, no longer trusted. The highway ahead is as empty as the old road behind. Is anything sure these days? Well, I cram myself back in, check gauges, and turn the key. Gun it, kid. Hit the ramp with the horsepower going for you. Cradled in my Detroit casket, transistors beating my eardrums. Of course, I'm going on. This senseless push, the only claim I have on some divinity.
That's tremendous. Okay, Harry, thank you very much. We could go on for hours. Time has well and truly run out on us, I'm afraid. We're going to play another track from you a little bit after the news, but Dave, over to you. And meanwhile, Harry Chapin, thank you very much.